Hello and welcome to coverage of, well, Modern Masters 2015 weekend here. We're in Las Vegas. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I've got Randy Buehler, and we are underway in the first round. Benjamin Ashbrook on the right-hand side versus Matthew Kelly on the left. You get a look at our feature match area here. Now, this is actual round one action here, Randy. Oftentimes we'll find us starting in the fourth round, but this is round one of the tournament. So these players, you know, they've just agonized over their sealed deck builds. Should I have put this last land in? Did I play this correctly? And now they get to take their deck for a spin here.
You know what else this is?
What's that?
First match either one of these guys has played at a GP.
Really?
Grand Prix debut for both Matthew Kelly and Ben Ashbrook.
Well, welcome to the feature match area and welcome to the GP, gentlemen. And we've got a rampant growth here from Matthew Kelly, so we're going to start things off.
Matt Kelly, though, appears to have brought his own lands. Quite the selection, ranging from the white-bordered forest to, is that a Tempest Mountain, I believe?
I wasn't going to say anything, Randy. You can't go full-bordered, white-bordered, really cool mountain from Tempest.
It is quite an eclectic mix. Ben Ashbrook, by the way, only has 3 cards in his hand. He appeared to take quite the series of mulligans.
Holy smokes. Wow, that is a savage series of mulligans, and his hand doesn't look very good either, Randy. He just drew Apostle's Blessing. He's got a pair of other red cards. I see, I believe, a Dragon Soul Knight in there, but I think he's got Shadow Mage Infiltrator in his hand too, so this could get ugly for Benjamin Ashbrook if he can't get some mana online here. He has Matthew Kelly, who's going to fire off a Nest Invader to get things started. A little one turn late perhaps, but it tends to catch you up on your mana, and it's a nice little start. I see that Matthew Kelly also has a Sphere of the Suns in his hand, but he decided not to cast it. He could have used his Eldrazi Spawn token in conjunction with this mountain, but it looks like he'd rather keep that Spawn token around.
Now, Ben Ashbrook, this is Magic the Traveling, right?
Yeah, that's Magic the Traveling. He travels around taking pictures, and I've seen that, you know, I looked at his Twitter just a few minutes ago, and he takes a lot of pictures of himself and others playing Magic in kind of not conventional places. You know, there's one of them playing Magic on the Brooklyn Bridge, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
All right, and this is not looking good, though, for Benjamin here. Matthew Kelly has attacked with his Nest Invader and now has played a Blood Ogre with Bloodthirst, so he's going to have a 3/3 first strike and a 2/2 facing down. Well, just a pair of lands here for Benjamin, who really needs to get things moving. He did find that island last turn, which was a nice draw towards at least casting a spell this game, but it looks like he's bricked on his draw step here and passed the turn back to Matthew. So Matthew's going to get a chance to crunch in there for 5 damage at least this turn.
Yeah, he looks like he's heard the 5-color plan. I've already seen a rampant growth. See a Wayfarer's Bauble in his hand.
And he's also got the Sphere of the Suns in his hand as well. All right, looks like
Sax's Eldrazi.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that enters tap, though. I'm not going to get to use that one right away. There we go. Interesting line there from Matthew. Let's see what he's got the Bauble now as well. So, you know, he's kind of sequencing things out in kind of a weird way here. He could have made that play.
I think he didn't realize the Sphere came untapped. I think he was planning to activate Wayfarer's Bauble that turn.
Okay. Yeah, and then a couple of turns ago, he could have made that same play by sacking the token and playing the Sphere, but I don't think it's going to matter here, Randy. He is so far ahead of Benjamin. He's attacking for 5 here, and he's still developing his board here while Benjamin just spins his wheels. And in fact, he's getting quite aggressive here. He's played Vines of Vastwood and kicked it, so we're talking about 9 damage here. Yeah, he's setting up the win next turn here. He's going to try to shut the door on this game as quickly as possible. Benjamin's down to 4 and facing lethal damage, and I think we're going to have a quick game 1 here.
Now, does this count as a picture Ben can put on his Twitter playing Magic in an interesting
No, I don't think he's going to want to do that. But Benjamin on end step Matthew shows him a lightning bolt. In fact, he actually fires it off there. No care for mana leak whatsoever. He knows he's about to close this thing out, and there's the game right there. All right, and the game 1 handshake. We're not done yet, gentlemen.
It's fine.
Got a couple more to go here.
First time at the GP, first game. It's worth a handshake.
Sure. And you can see Matthew looks a little relieved. I saw a little sigh of relief from him. Benjamin on the other side says, okay, deck. Come on, we can do better than that.
He's going through and counting his lands. Like, how many lands did I play?
Make sure they're all in there. Let's take a look at a live look-in. There's Nicole Soika on the right-hand side. And
speaking of people making their Grand Prix debuts.
She's also on her first. She's playing
Indeed.
blue-white, it looks like. And her opponent, Ian McLean. Well, I think we're going to see a lot of this today, Randy. 5-color all over the place. He's got, well, a card, honestly, that you don't see in the 5-color deck very often. He's got Waxmane Baku. That's a very spirits-centric card. Really isn't very good unless you have a lot of spirits, but Ian could have leaned in the spiritual direction for his 5-color deck and be splashing a few other things, so we'll have to see. Right now, we're back on Nicole's turn where she has a Water Servant. Unfortunately for her, I see a Mirror Entity in the graveyard. That one.
Yeah, well, is that Savage Twister on the top of Ian's graveyard?
That's correct, Randy.
Yeah.
I think we can piece together what happened here. The good news for Nicole, though, is that she still has the Water Servant. That's going to do a good job of getting her beat down on here. And she's getting aggressive, too. A rest on a Waxmane Baku that's just a 2-2 currently. And she's even got a Glinthawk Idol to keep the beats flowing next turn. And she can attack for 4 here with her Water Servant if she wants to pump it up. Now, if she does, oh, this is going to get nasty. I think that Ian has a Nameless Inversion in his hand. Oh, no. Yeah, there it goes. Nameless Inversion. So before pumps, the Water Servant wasn't in range. But the one pump made it a 4-3 instead of a 3-4, and that put it into Nameless Inversion range. So Water Servant's going to hit the bin, but, you know, to be honest, that Nameless Inversion was going to get something at some point, so it's not a disaster here that it gets the Water Servant. And I like the play from Nicole there to try to get more damage through. Interestingly here, Randy, one of the cool interactions that we'll see probably more tomorrow than today, Nameless Inversion, Shapeshifter Tribal Instant, and it actually put a counter on the Waxmane Baku here.
It is a spirit. It comes back with Soul Shift. That's the cool thing.
That's the combo for sure.
Saw Frank Karsten ranked it as the top common in the set for that reason.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with him, but that was his theory. In particular, like pick one, pack one of commons. He wants to avoid. He wants flexible cards.
So I'm assuming his favorite uncommon is Dismember.
Yes.
All right, and yeah, it does look like Ian has leaned over in the Spirit's direction here with a Thief of Hope now. He can actually put a counter on him.
Yeah, we should look at Thief of Hope. That's a card that does a lot of cool stuff here. It is a spirit, like you say, so it should have triggered Waxmane Baku.
It did, yeah.
I think Ian forgot.
He just forgot. It doesn't look like it's going to matter. Arrest is going to shut down Waxmane Baku's activated ability anyway, but you know,
barring some
you never know
down the line.
Yeah.
But the other thing Thief of Hope has going for it is Soul Shift. When it dies, you get Nameless Inversion back.
Yeah, that's basically what that says here. There are other spirits that you can get back in the set, but what you want to be doing is that.
Yeah, get the Nameless Inversion.
Yeah.
And that don't sleep on that first ability too. The fact that you get to drain your opponent for one every time you play a spirit or an arcane spell adds up.
It adds up quickly. For those of you that have played the Extort mechanic, it's like that, but you don't have to pay an extra mana. Why don't we jump back to our other match here? We'll let this one sort of develop, and we'll check in on it to see what's going on here. But we didn't get much of a game one here as Benjamin on the right there had to mulligan so deeply in that first game that he really never got to get anything going. I want to see what his deck can do. And
well, he kept 7, played 2 lands and a 2-mana creature.
Yeah.
He's already blowing away his game 1 performance.
Yeah, and this is an interesting opener for him, too. He's got the Slaughter Master there. That's a double striker. It's just a 1-1, but he can play black and green to pump it up.
I mean, it plays like a 2-2, given the fact that it has double strike.
And
the full art swamp followed by the white bordered forest.
Yeah,
Randy,
stop bringing it up. I'm trying my best.
You're trying to just not look.
Yeah. All right.
He had to do work to bring those lands. They don't have white bordered forests or full art swamps.
What I'm trying to not do is take that personally. That's so he plays a reassembling skeleton, which could be a really nice tool against the type of start that Benjamin Ashbrook has going on here. As you know, if something scary happens, if that double striker picks up a piece of equipment or gets enchanted or something like that, he can start blocking it and recurring his reassembling skeleton every turn. It's also nice here against the.
It blocks Finkel.
Yeah, it blocks old Johnny Magic there as well, indefinitely. Though mana considerations do start to add up. You have to pay 2 mana to bring that reassembling skeleton back to your hand, and that's no small feat here in the early stages. And there's somebody at my local shop at home that calls it resembling skeletons. We never correct them.
Does it resemble anybody at the store in particular?
No. Oh, here's a
well, that's
nice
good
one.
tech.
Good combo here. Bone splinters to sacrifice the reassembling skeleton. And wow, let's just finish off the old Johnny Finkel here too. That's of course Shadow Mage Infiltrator, John Finkel's invitational card.
Invitational card.
And a nice turn there for Matthew Kelly. He's managed to wipe away both threats from Benjamin Ashbrook, and he's still got the reassembling skeleton in his graveyard that he can bring back for just 1 and a black a little bit later. I think that Benjamin's going to miss a land drop here, though. He had a fortunate land draw that let him play his first 2 creatures. And he's still got plays to make here. And it looks like Matthew's going to have to settle for a Blood Ogre, but this time without the Bloodthirst. You know, last time we saw him get on board with the 3/3 first striking Blood Ogre early in the game, but not this time.
2/2 first strike, still decent on this board.
Yeah, totally. It's just facing down. Small creature. There's also a Plagued Rusalka now on his side of the battlefield. We'll see if he has any shenanigans with that. We saw in the first game some of the things that can get done with that, but right now I think it's just going to be a creature. All right, and Still Infection, though, is going to shrink down the Blood Ogre. Well, that's just an instant there, so that one goes to the yard. We get a nice big coverage.
Yeah,
dice
leaves
on
the
there.
leaves the counter. Ben could have attacked first, in theory. Maybe surprised Matthew by shrinking his first striker in the middle of combat after he was trying to fight a 2/2.
It's going to take up basically all of Benjamin Ashbrook's turn, though. He's going to pass a turn back over to Matthew Kelly. Let's see what Matthew's got lined up here. Looks like he's playing Jund. Some really powerful options in that 3-color slice. You can break down this set many different ways and find powerful options, but you get Savage Twister, Wrecking Ball. There's a bunch of good stuff here. He doesn't do anything this turn, though. He's just going to pass the turn back.
Ben attacking.
So in comes the Inner Flame Igniter, excuse me, and a block plus the Rusalka here.
Rusalka sacked to give it -1/-1, so it would die to the first striking ogre.
Yeah. So they basically traded. But in the meantime, Dread Drone is being held back by the now 1/1 first strike Blood Ogre. Not too bad there, but Benjamin's really firing on all cylinders with mana here, and he gets some stuff going, although maybe I spoke too soon. I see that he's got, I believe, a Mirror Entity in his hand there. He's got a Fiery Fall, and it does look like he's considering tapping all of his mana and sacking one of his Eldrazi spawn to just get rid of that Blood Ogre and start beating down for 4 a turn here. No, he's decided to play the Warway Phoenix instead. Worldheart Phoenix, and you know, I think he does have access to all 5 colors, so he could bring that back if it were to die, but for now it's going to be a 2/2 flyer. Another land off the top for Matthew Kelly here. That's his 5th mana. You got to figure like he's got something to cast here. He's got all 3 of his colors. All right, Twins. Dread Drones for everybody.
There are a lot of random token creatures in this format.
Totally.
It is hard to break through on the ground sometimes.
Yeah, there's a few of the archetypes in this format that really reward you by making huge ground creatures that don't have evasion, and they can take a long time to actually punch through for
Yeah,
damage.
Sign of the Wild looks impressive, but when they're just like block with an Eldrazi spawn, block
Yeah.
with an Eldrazi spawn.
Yeah, same to Gorehorn Minotaurs, Rusted Relic, Kavu Primarch. These are all just big, kind of dumb, you know, ground attackers, and they sometimes it takes a while to get through. I mean, they're still good, but some form of an evasion would be excellent. What's going on? Yeah, you're not
Matthew's
blocking
trying
that
to
one.
block, but flying. I mean,
So-
it's no secret that evasion abilities are good and limited, but I think flying is just better in this format than most others.
Yeah, I have noticed it being excellent, and I think we can see the reason why here. Drowsy spawn tokens flow around.
Uh-oh.
Is this going to be a
8?
crusher? It is.
Ulamog's
Crusher
Now,
has come
Ulamog's
down.
Crusher is not a big dumb ground creature.
No. Ulamog's Crusher has Annihilator 2. It must attack every turn, and it's an 8/8. So whenever it attacks, Benjamin is going to be forced to sacrifice 2 permanents before even blocks happen. And then he's going to have to deal with the whole 8/8 creature attacking him thing as well. So even though it does get blocked like the other creatures we said for at least a few turns, it's eating away at either your lands or your other creatures. And, you know, two attacks with an Ulamog's Crusher usually is enough to decimate somebody's board. In the meantime, it looks like he's going to, well, he's actually going to rumble here. Interesting. So I think he's figured that, you know, Benjamin doesn't really have permanence to give here with that Crusher. And he's going to play it first and then attack with both. But Benjamin says, yeah, well, I can't do anything about it. He's got that Fiery Fall. And remember, the Crusher must attack. So Benjamin can make a play like he can block with his Dread Drone and then use Fiery Fall to finish off the Crusher. And even though that's not a play that you'd love to make, you know, you're taking the old 2-for-1 there. I think that's going to be what Benjamin's going to have to do because he cannot let Ulamog's Crusher stick around for even another turn. Now he's drawn a Banefire as well, but he's 1 mana short from being able to actually kill the Crusher with it. That's tough luck. If he had 1 more mana, he could sack his tokens and just get rid of it, not have to deal with this whole Annihilator situation at all. He's going to get in there with World Heart Phoenix. That thing's not scheduled to block anyway, though. I do wonder if he wants to consider blocking, you know, the Dread Drone or at least keeping that at bay. He's significantly behind in this game now. He also could be trying to line up some huge Banefire to the dome, though I wonder if he's going to run out of time for that. So it looks like Matthew's kind of going through the iterations here. Interestingly, he's decided to keep back Dread Drone to block, as the Blood Ogre can't currently be profitably blocked. All right, I hope that Benjamin just sacked those, though, for mana. No, I guess he doesn't need it either way.
Something to Annihilator.
Yeah, no, I know that. I thought he had 5 mana, but he's actually got 6 for his Fiery Fall.
Oh, yeah. And there's the play you recommended.
All right, let's
Dread
see if
Drone
it
plus
works.
Fiery Fall takes down the Crusher.
All right, so that's about the best case scenario to get rid of
Yeah.
that. He's only going to take 1 damage this turn.
So he lost 2 cards and both his spawn to the Annihilator.
That's right.
Although I guess that's really 1 card. It was the Dread Drone and the 2 spawn that came with it.
Yep. All right, there's a Burst Lightning. That's not a bad draw here for Benjamin at all. Now, he's got a real game plan on his hands here.
Yeah, he's going to burn out Matt Kelly, right?
You know, right now, Kelly can hit him
He
for
just
only
needs to
5 a
survive
turn.
1 attack phase.
Yeah.
Right? World Heart drops him to 8. Burst Lightning deals 4. Banefire can deal 5. That's 9.
That's game. He's got a game plan. It looks like a safe one as well. There's a few cards in the format that can get him, but not many. Is this Plummet?
It
oh,
is.
no. Now, does this plan still work is a question? No, right?
He needs 1 land for the
He
Banefire.
needs 1 land, so he can end step, fire it off for 4, drop him to 6, drop a land, and go for it.
Yeah.
And also...
Or he can Burst Lightning.
Oh, he's going to decide to control the board here. Now, this is a more conservative line, but this is a line that could lead him to mayhem. If he can't find a way to get those last few points of damage in here, he's not bringing back that World Heart Phoenix anytime soon here. He's still 2 lands away from doing it. He could find himself behind if Matthew Kelly, you know, just has a threat. Looks like he doesn't, though.
And there was the land. Yeah, if he'd gone for Burst Lightning, that would have been the land he needed for a lethal Banefire right here. Anytime I have an X spell in my hand, I'm keeping track of my opponent's life total.
Totally.
I mean, look, you got to use it as a removal spell when you have it early in the game. You often wind up burning it as a removal spell, but when you get to this kind of late game, your opponent's at 10. How many lands do you have? What can I deal?
And it's not like if he doesn't draw a land, he just loses. He's got another turn to take a hit, and you got to figure that most cards that he draws at this point he can cast. Though
If it's not a land, it's probably a spell.
It's probably a spell. Now, I will say, Randy, normally that's true, but he's also got 2 spells in his hand right now that he can't cast. And it looks like this is Fiery Fall getting cycled here. What does he need so badly? Oh, he's just going to get a swamp with it? Or a mountain? Wow, that's a valuable card to have in your hand late in the game. Now, if he's got something specific in mind that he wants to cast, that makes sense. But I think you want to keep that Fiery Fall. That's kind of the great part about those cards is that early in the game. All right, he had to ship. Oh, I see why he's getting his lands. He's got an Artisan of Kozilek in his hand now. And 3, 6, 8, and that's his 9th mana. So next turn he's going to be able to play Artisan and try to slam the door on this game. And Benjamin, he's in a bad spot now. Artisan can bring back Crusher?
Oh, seriously?
Is that a thing? Another land off the top for Ashbrook, and he's staring at this Banefire. And it's just not enough. He can only do it for 7, and with Matthew Kelly sitting safely at 10 life, he needs to find either another burn spell or a threat. Oh no, Randy, here it comes.
Artisan of Kozilek bringing back Ulamog's Crusher. That's a thing we're about to see.
Yeah, right after an attack for 1, it looks like.
Nice.
3, 6, 9. So that thing is a 10-9. And you can see it's got Annihilator 2. And there it is. Oh my god. How much mana did you spend for your turn? 17. Still have 1 to spare. A little better than what Benjamin's dealing with. And the downside here, of course, for Benjamin is that he's now going to have to use his Banefire. Let's see, he's got 5, 7, 8.
Can't kill the Artisan.
Yeah, he's dead. Lethal. He's just dead. Yeah, the Artisan plus the Blood Ogre would finish him off.
He can kill the Crusher.
Yeah.
But he can't kill Matthew, which is what he needed to do here.
I think he's explaining that to Matthew right now.
It's a pretty interesting game.
This was kind of a cool game, yeah. He's just doming him, sending a message. All right, Benjamin, go out, guns blazing. I like it. In the meantime, though,
let's annihilate 4 of your lands.
Yeah,
and then you.
And then you. All right. The Vines of Vastwood just for style points. And Matthew Kelly takes down our first match. So Benjamin Ashbrook's going to have to settle with a tough loss there. He mulliganed a lot in the first game and maybe missed the winning line there in the middle part of the game. But looks like these guys had a good, clean match. And it's all smiles in the feature match area, at least on this end of it, because we're going to jump over to our other match where it looks like Ian McLean has won the first game against Nicole. And this is a little more serious on this end of the table. They're still battling. So we didn't actually get to see it, but we pieced together the remnants of the first game, which it looked like Nicole had a really nice curve. She's playing blue-white.
Yeah, she's pretty affinity-based. She's got...
Is she?
She's got Cranial Plating in her hand. We saw Glint Hawk Idol last game.
There's another one. There it is here. Yeah, totally. And it looks like she had a pretty good start going, but Ian McLean had Savage Twister to wipe away the board.
Yep. Oh, he just drew Niv Mizzet.
Yeah, he did. Although he's staring at a swamp on the battlefield here, so you got to question how long it's going to be before Niv Mizzet hits the field. If this is a Sphere of the Suns, now Rune Servitor, not going to do quite as good of a job.
Serviceable. Sometimes you just need a 2-drop.
It does race the Glint Hawk Idol, though. All right, so it looks like Nicole has a pretty sweet turn here. Oh, she's going to rumble. She must have another play. I was thinking the cranial plating. You know, that activates a Glint Hawk Idol for free.
She does have a cranial plating in her hand,
Yeah,
right?
she does.
She could have played cranial plating, which would activate the Glint Hawk Idol. She could equip cranial plating onto Glint Hawk Idol and hit for 4. Yeah, the plating will fall off, but what are you saving your mana for?
Maybe she's got a mana leak or something, or maybe a remand.
It looks like Arrest, Helium Squirter, I'm guessing. Cranial plating and something blue.
Maybe a repeal. I don't think she'd keep up repeal mana, but she could be keeping up remand or something like that. I mean, she certainly looks like she's holding a counter spell, you know, from Ian's side of this table.
Well, it runs out as Dimir Guildmage.
And is she going to fire anything off on this? She wants to know
if
what
she has
it
a
does
counter,
first.
she should.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is a powerful late game play for sure, but Looks like it's going to resolve. Yeah, he's got it. All right, so Selesnya Sanctuary comes down to keep developing Ian's 5-color mana base here. And Nicole's going to draw her card for the turn. Yeah, that is a Helium Squirter, Randy. You were right. So you think she'll go for the plating this time, or is she going to go for the arrest here to make sure Dimir Guildmage doesn't get going? Yeah, she's going to go for that.
Yeah.
And she kind of awkwardly had to tap her white mana there to cast the arrest, didn't leave her one back for Glint Hawk Idol, so she's not going to be able to attack with it this turn. But she did what she had to do to use her removal spell. With only one plane, she didn't have another option.
McLean's up to, what, 4 mana in play plus a swamp in his hand toward Niv Mizzet.
Yeah, 1 blue. That's all I'm seeing. All right, Rune Silverdor's going to battle, and I believe he's got a Sickle Slicer that he's going to add to the board here. There it is. Get that living weapon trigger going. And we'll get a germ token for Ian once we get one out of our token box there. All right, there's one. So Living Weapon, of course, comes in with a 0/0 germ token attached to it. If the equipment gets moved, the germ just dies, but it ends up being a 2/2 until that happens. And Nicole, she's drawn a Mirror Entity here. Now, this is not the ideal board state for a Mirror Entity. You know, you'd far prefer to have a wider creature base here, a bunch of tokens or something along those lines. You can just activate Mirror Entity once and usually just kill your opponent with it. But with only 2 creatures and one of them not currently an actual creature, that thing's going to have to wait a little while before it does its duty. And again, poor Glinthawk Idol. You know, if Nicole had drawn 1 plains instead of an island there, Ian would be down to 14 now. But she's only got the 1 plains and has cast 1 white spell per turn the last 2 turns.
Oh, you're going to enjoy this turn for Ian McLean. I predict.
Okay. I haven't seen what he's doing yet, but I'm interested.
Yes, you are.
All right, Rune Servitor and the Sickle Slicer, though, are going to rumble into the red zone. And it doesn't look like Nicole has any good blocks here. She's got her Mirror Entity. It's just a 1/1. And the Glinthawk Idol's just in artifact mode. It's frozen in rock, so it's not going to be able to block. So she's just going to have to take 4 here. But what is... Oh, hello. Welcome to the team, Muldrifter. Oh, and it's a foil one, too. Some people have all the luck.
Foil full price Muldrifter.
Ian McLean, how good does that feel, man? So Muldrifter with Evoke, but you don't have to evoke it, and you can take a look at it there. That's right, 2/2 flyer and draw 2 cards.
It's kind of crazy how so many cards get pushed down in rarity for this set. You know, they're willing to put the more powerful cards at common to make the draft archetypes work. Muldrifter's headed the other way. There aren't that many cards that get promoted in rarity.
That's true.
In Modern Masters.
God, I love that
This should
card.
not have been common the first time around. So good.
It's a 3-for-1.
Pretty much.
I mean, you don't get 3-for-1s in Limited very often. And Muldrifter's just a built-in 3-for-1. It's a great card.
There's so many shenanigans in this set, too. It's an elemental if you're playing with Smoke Braider. Otherworldly Journey can... you can evoke it. You can Otherworldly Journey. You wind up with a 3/3 Muldrifter and 4 cards.
I'm interested. I hope we see that on camera this weekend. That's on my Modern Masters 2015 bingo sheet for sure.
It's kind of hard to set up because the blue-white deck is Affinity. So, like, the blue-white deck doesn't really play either the Muldrifter or the Otherworldly Journey. I mean, whatever. It'll play a Muldrifter, but it's not a priority.
Somebody else probably wants it a little more than you do.
Right. Right. And if you're the guy who got the Muldrifter, you're thinking elementals. Or blue-black value.
Take a look at Ian and Nicole as they rumble in our feature match area. You can see that Ian's the one who's up a game here. Nicole's looking to equalize. You said this was Nicole's first GP?
Indeed.
She finds herself in the feature match area. That's got to be cool. And all right, so we turned a Muldrifter into a dragon here with a Sickle Slicer.
Can't get the mana for the dragon in your hand? Build your own.
He's just going to attack here. Nicole has her mana available this time for the mirror entity, so that meant that it blanked the ground game there for Ian, so he's just going to have to take to the skies. But he's got a nice mana-efficient turn here. He's used up 4 of his mana to equip his Sickle Slicer, and he's even used up the last 2 to play a Sphere of the Suns. And Nicole's finally found her other white mana source. This is also her 5th mana. You know, she's still holding Cranial Plating in her hand, though it feels like she's significantly behind now and is going to need to get something going. And it looks like, oh, Hikari, that's a nice one to draw here.
Indeed.
She can use that to trade off if she wants for the Mole Drifter holding the Sickle Slicer and stem that bleeding. And it looks like she may have stabilized here unless Ian has a big follow-up play. Ian finds an Evolving Wilds off the top, which will get him 3/4 of the way. Yeah, he's getting there. We saw that Niv Mizzet earlier. There's been an island. Now he's got the Sphere of the Suns. Go get a mountain with that. But does he have a more potent play this turn? I see he's got a Waxmane Baku in his hand there. That's not going to do much here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him offer the trade, though, for the Hikari. That thing's a pain to deal with if you let Nicole untap with it.
You already got your 2 cards from Mole Drifter.
Yeah.
Trading it for a 4/4 flyer seems fine.
I agree. Oh, he's got Savage Twister in his hand, too. This is where Glinthawk Idol looks pretty sweet, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about Savage Twister much when it's in artifact mode.
And Twister's only okay on this board, right?
Yeah, it's just okay. I mean, he can use it to take down Mirror Entity while he can. You know, otherwise he gets himself in a weird spot where he kind of has to wait for Nicole to tap a bunch of mana. And yeah, Nicole says, I've had enough of that Mole Drifter. I'm going to go ahead and block it. That seems correct to me. Mole Drifter down, but like you said, Ian's not sad about it.
Can he equip his Rune Servitor and then still twist? He only needs a Twister for 1.
He only needs a Twister for 1. That is true. Doesn't even need to equip it, but it does make a nice threat. He might even just wait. I mean, Mirror Entity's just not that scary here. Looks like he's going for the upkeep Crack My Evolving Wilds. Doesn't really matter when he does it. So Nicole's drawn her card for the turn and is now figuring out how she wants to proceed here. She had an aggressive start, but things have stalled out a little bit for her. And Ian's been able to deploy pretty nice threats here. He's really, you know, that Sickle Slicer's not the most mana-efficient card, but it's decent.
Mm-hmm.
All right, looks like she's going to activate Glinthawk Idol. And now she's just going to dump all her mana into Mirror Entity, turn him into 4/4s, and she's just going to battle here. Hit you for 8. Now, Ian could actually trade there if he wants. Yeah, he could trade for the Mirror Entity.
Trade Servitor for Mirror Entity.
Yeah, I think he'd be service to do that, but he's decided not to here. He does have Nicole all the way down to 8 here, and he can hit her for 4, so he might have a plan. Nicole not in a great position to race currently, though. I like that she's putting the pedal to the metal here. Ian's going to attack for 4 damage here. That's half of Nicole's remaining life total, so she is in dire straits here. She can only take 1 more hit from that Rune Servitor, and that's going to put her in a tough position. And let's see what Ian's got lined up for this turn. He's going to Savage Twister.
Yep.
So how much is he doing it for here?
Well, he should be floating a white so that he can follow up with Waxmane Baku. Oh, he's going to Twister for 2, which does not get the Glinthawk Idol, but does put the Dimir Guildmage in his graveyard, if that matters.
Huh.
And yeah, he's floated a white, I believe.
No.
Maybe he twisted for 3.
He must have twisted for 3, but it looks like he's just going to fire off that Waxmane Baku here. He's left Nicole in a tough position. She's only got Glinthawk Idol. She's facing down a 4/4 and the 2/2 Waxmane. So she needs something pretty impressive here to help stabilize the board. She doesn't need anything amazing, but she needs something big. She's drawn Raise the Alarm, which will certainly keep her alive for another turn. She's also got a Sun Spear Shikari, which can really help dig her out of this mess. If it gets equipped, it gets lifelink in first strike, and she's
How about if you equip it with cranial plating?
yeah, she's still got the plating, yeah, and the Glinthawk Idol, of course, to help pump it up as well. So I think she's going to have to finally fire off that plating here. She's held it in her hand. She seemed reluctant to play it. There we go. Now let's get that thing on the Sun Spear Shikari and present a nice little blocker.
Yeah, I mean, Waxmane Baku can beat that plan, but you make the guy show you a spirit, right?
Yeah, totally. It only costs 1 to equip the plating, which is really kind of the broken thing about it, is that you can just float it around anywhere. And there we go. All right, so Nicole now has a 4-2 with first strike and life.
The bad news is that tapping that white mana means she can't activate Hawk Idol. I still think it was correct.
Well, it is actually active. She just
not
can't do
not
it
as
on
a blocker.
defense. Yeah.
Like, I mean, the problem is if Ian plays any spirit, Waxbane Baku taps Sunspear, and he rumbles for lethal.
That's right.
But I don't think Ian actually has a spirit.
No, and that means that he has no attacks whatsoever. And this is definitely a tense one for Nicole, because she knows that she could just lose the game on the spot. But if she gets to untap, like, she can attack with the Sunspear Shikari. She
probably should have
Raise
attacked
the
with the
Alarm.
idol last turn, since it's going to turn off anyway. It doesn't
Yeah.
help her on defense.
No, for sure. But it does look like she's going to survive this turn, and if she gets to, and there's nothing huge on Ian's side, she can attack for 4 with lifelink and gain some life, get it back up to 8. She can hold Raise the Alarm to be a surprise blocker even through a Spirit and a Waxmane Baku activation. She could be back in business here. But this is where, like what you just said, Randy, you know, she did have a free activation on the idol, and that's where that damage can really start to add up when you need those extra hits. Like, Ian could be at 8 here pretty easily.
You just brawl with your lifelinker here. It's both a lifelink and first strike, right?
That's right. The Sunspear Shikari gets both if it's equipped. And Ian's just out of gas. He's got 3 lands and Niv Mizzet that he can't even cast. Here's Helium Squirter now for Nicole. An aggressive play here, but she does need to keep developing her board. She should attack, though, I think, with that Sunspear Shikari. And I'd be pretty tempted to try to keep my Raise the Alarm mana available as well if I were Nicole, just because that is a nice way to put up a couple of blockers, and there's no way that Ian's going to put, you know, 3 counters on his Waxmane Baku before the next attack. 1 is totally reasonable, but. And it looks like Nicole's just going to attack with Glinthawk Idol this turn, so Ian falls to 8 now. But she's left the Sunspear back on defense. Now, it is doing a good job of holding back the team here, but she's in a precarious position here.
Yeah, it's only doing a good job because Ian can't manage to get a trigger onto Waxmane Baku.
That's right.
What he can do now, though,
Yeah,
finally,
yes,
it is time.
Play Niv Mizzet floating a white because he's getting his second red from Boros Garrison. And there it is, Niv Mizzet. Awesome. Take a look at Niv Mizzet, the Fire Mine there. That card is sweet. I know a lot of people's favorite card is Niv Mizzet.
So it's big and flying.
Yeah.
And it draws cards. And it deals damage.
It does all of those things.
I like all those things.
Yeah. No, it's a great card for sure. And Nicole is going to have to find an answer to it as quickly as possible here, because once it starts going off, it gets ugly quick. Your life total falls, your opponent's drawing cards, they start burying you with card advantage. So let's see, what does Nicole have in her hand here? Couldn't quite see, but it looks like she's actually reading Niv Mizzet here, I believe.
Is it steady progress? Draw
Repeal.
card, proliferate?
Is it repeal?
Oh, it's repeal?
I think it's repeal. Yeah, it is repeal, and she is going to bounce. It looks like the Sickle Slicer is what she's decided to bounce, not the Rune Servitor. So that's going to shrink down the Rune Servitor, but it does mean that Ian can recast that later. Now, she had an option of using Repeal in combat, which could have been, really powerful if Ian made a big greedy block, but she's going to do it before combat. It looks like she has something else lined up here as well. All right, I like this. Now she's getting in there with the Sunspear Shikari. She's also activated her Glinthawk Idol, though that is going to crash right into Niv Mizzet.
Isn't that just suicide into Niv Mizzet?
Well,
What does she have up her
I don't
sleeve?
know. Maybe, she could be, let's see. Oh, she tapped all her white mana here. There's not much that she can represent with just the double blue. She can give her creature +2/+2 and flying if she's got white.
Right.
But I think Ian's going to figure it out here.
Nope,
No, he did not figure it out. He did. He's chump blocking
Nice
with
bluff.
the Rune Servitor, though. So Nicole pushes through 2 damage. Bravo. And they're both
Ian
going
was
to draw a
afraid to
card
call it.
here. And what did she find? He took 2. Yeah, Ian just did not want to risk Niv Mizzet, even in the face of just double blue. But, we mentioned this in our intro segment, Randy. This set is very new.
Yes.
Not only does it take cards from a very wide range of Magic history where people may or may not have been playing during that time. I know I wasn't playing for a lot of these sets. But also, the set's only been out a week. It's not like people have had a chance to really grind it out and figure it all out. All right, now interesting draw here for Ian McLean, Randy. He's drawn a second copy of Waxmane Baku, which is of course going to trigger the first one. But it looks like he's actually fallen behind here. Niv Mizzet should be able to get him out of it, but look at the life totals.
Yeah.
Is that life total right for Nicole?
She was at 4.
She
She
should
should
be
have
at
gained
8,
4
right?
to 8.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll make sure our spotter has the right life total, or make sure the players have the right life total, for that matter. But that Shikari did get blocked, and she's got 2 artifacts, so. So let's see what Ian has here. Second copy of Waxmane is going to trigger the first one. Let's get a dice on that. So that's a key counter. And Waxmane Baku, it doesn't look great. The first time I read it, I wrote a preview card article for this format.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how good is this card really? And I read it a bunch of times.
You didn't play Kamigawa Black?
No, I didn't. And so I hadn't seen it before. This isn't the type of card that makes it into cubes or anything like that.
Sure.
Very often. So I had to read it a few times, like, what does this actually do? And then, I realized, all right, let's just say you have a lot of spirits. Yes, it does a lot. And in fact, it does. And that's going to do it.
She was
so
at 6 apparently. And
she was.
Has scooped up her cards.
All right, so Ian McLean wins his first match and his first feature match. And Nicole Soika, she still got a smile on her face. She got to come down to the feature match area there. And she's going to keep battling. This is only round 1. It's a long day ahead of them. And both of these players, are going to remain hopeful about putting up a strong finish here. And you can see the I like the demeanor here, in the early stages.
Mm-hmm.
I can appreciate I'm happy to be here. We get the hardened pros down in the feature match.
It turns out
area,
playing Magic is fun.
It's easy to forget that. It's like you get into this competitive mindset and you're at a Grand Prix and you want to do well and you've been thinking about it for months. And, I actually, a friend of mine who's playing in the GP came up and I was chatting with him beforehand. And that was actually my advice to him. I said, don't forget to have fun. And he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, no, really. Like, I always do better in tournaments when I'm enjoying myself and, get a little story out of it and have some fun with it. Because I'm one of the people that I was just talking about, where I get too in my own head about it and I'm too serious down in there, and especially when you get to the feature match area. So we're actually going to get a chance to join a game 3.
Cool.
We're moving them over to the feature match area now. Now, we're going to be bringing you, our turbo match action throughout the course of the weekend. That's, of course, where we get to catch up to a match that's already in progress. But this time, we're lucky. They're in game 3 here, and we moved them over. So they're in our main feature match area here, and uh-oh. This could be a short one here. Tim Schumann on the left just took 3 of his 4 life away, and he needs a black mana source. Oh, no, I see he's got black mana there. What can he play to get out of this mess? He's facing down one single lethal threat from Alex Barrera here on the right-hand side. So,
yeah, it looks like he dealt with a Wilt Leaf Liege already.
I think he's got a scavenging drake there. Oh, a Wilt Leaf Liege? Oh, yeah, you're right.
That's how Alex got ahead.
And I see a Kavu Primarch on the side for Alex, and also one in the graveyard there for Tim, so maybe some combat tricks happened. And I think we're going to see Scavenging Drake. No, something else. This is going to cost 5 mana. Is this that rare guy?
Oh, Endrixar.
Yeah.
I have no idea how good Endrixar is. I even played with this format the first time around. It's just, whenever you play creatures, you get tokens. Oh, but Alex has a burn spell, so there's the handshake.
He had the burn spell, and that finished things off. So
yep.
That's going to be game 3 there. We only got to see the end of it, unfortunately. But, yeah, we came into the last stages. And, again, more smiles in the feature match area. I like seeing that. And, well.